Broken abilities. The story starts with a boy who is sleeping. His alarm is ringing, and he wakes up and turns it off. The time is 6 a.m. He gets up, goes outside, and sees a huge mountain of money. Our main character, Steve, looks at the mountain, smiles, and then we see a flashback 1 month earlier. A boy is standing in front of a shop that sells pizza and burgers. The shop is open, and anyone can see what they are selling. Our main character, Steve, looks at the shop, puts his hand in his pocket, and walks away. Then we see him at college. He sits in the middle of a bench when one guy comes to him and says, "You're looking good today, Steve. What happened? Did you try something new?" That guy is Noel, Steve's best friend. Steve says, "Until you're alive, I don't think anything good will happen to me, Noel." They both look at each other and start laughing. Noel sits beside Steve and says, "I found a place in the jungle. I'm going there today. Maybe I'll find something new, treasure, a monster, or something like that. Are you coming, Steve?" Steve says, "What? You found a place? I don't understand." Noel replies, "Last night I was hanging around, and I saw a light in the jungle. When I went there, I found a big house. But I was supposed to be home on time, so I came back. Then today, before coming to college, I went to see that big house again, but it wasn't there anymore." Noel looks Steve in the eyes, and Steve says, "Oh yeah, good story, Noel. If you write horror stories, you'll succeed." "I'm not kidding, Steve," Noel says. Then the college professor comes, and Steve looks at his best friend Noel and says, "Okay, let's go tonight. Let's see your big house." After class, Noel and Steve go there. They sit on a rock, and Steve says, "Tell me, Noel, did you lie to me?" Noel replies, "No, I told you the truth." Steve says, "So where's that big house of yours? I don't see it." Noel says, "Just wait. Maybe it appears at night." Steve says, "Really? Do you believe this kind of thing?" "Hey, don't be rude, Steve. You've also been waiting with me for 4 hours, Noel says. Steve says, "That's because I'm saying maybe you saw nothing. Maybe you were drunk last night." Noel replies, "You know I don't drink, and I really saw a big house there." Steve says, "Okay, I believe you, Noel. But look, there's no house. There's only jungle. It's 8 o'clock a.m. now, and we're still waiting for a mysterious house to appear. Come on, Noel. Maybe it's real. But it's not here now. Let's go." Noel says, "Yeah, you're right, Steve. Maybe that house won't appear again. Forget about it. Let's go home." Both Steve and Noel walk home. While walking, Steve says, "I can't believe we waited 4 hours for an invisible house." They both start laughing. The next day, Steve wakes up and goes out for a walk. When he reaches the jungle, he stops. There's a big house standing there. Steve walks closer and rings the doorbell, curious to know who lives there. The door opens, and Steve freezes. This house wasn't there last night, but now it's real. Maybe I'm imagining things, he mutters. A beautiful girl appears at the door. "Can I help you?" she asks. Steve just stares at her. "Hello," she repeats. "Oh yeah," Steve says awkwardly. "I was just walking and saw this big house. I wanted to know how it got here. Yesterday, there was nothing here." The girl looks at him and says, "Nice try," then closes the door. Steve stares at the door. I'm not flirting. But she shuts it completely. Steve sighs. Maybe. I'm dreaming, he says and walks away. Later, at college, Steve is sitting alone when Noel comes up to him and says, "Hey, dude." He sits beside him. Steve says, "I want to talk about something." "What?" Noel asks. "I saw that big house in the jungle." Noel's eyes widen. The two of them start running toward the jungle while talking. "What did you see there?" Noel asks. "I saw a beautiful girl in that house," Steve says. "Really? You saw a girl there?" Noel asks, surprised. They reach the place but there's no house. They look at each other. Later, Noel is ordering pizza. "I want extra ketchup and cheese." "Okay," he tells the cashier. Then he walks to Steve, who is reading a book. "Did you find something?" Noel asks. "Not really," Steve replies, "but look here, it says a nine-tailed fox could, in ancient times, create a house to play tricks on travelers." Noel frowns. "Why would a nine-tailed fox play with travelers?" "I don't know," Steve says. "Maybe it didn't have any friends. Maybe it was bored." Just then, the pizza girl comes to their table and hands them their order. Steve looks up and says, "Hey, do you remember me? We met this morning at that big house of yours." The girl stares at him. "What? You were there, right?" "I was walking, saw your big house, rang the bell, and asked about it. You didn't tell me much. Do you remember?" The girl nods slowly. "Yes, yeah." Steve and Noel exchange hopeful looks. The girl walks away to her work again. Noel sighs. "That was embarrassing." "Why'd you do that?" "I didn't do anything wrong," Steve says. "I saw that girl in that big house." Both of them glance at the girl again. She looks back briefly, then returns to work. That evening, Noel and Steve go to Noel's home. His mother welcomes them, and they go to his room. They start talking about the girl. Noel says, "Maybe you saw another girl, Steve." "No, I didn't," Steve insists. "Believe me or not, I saw her. I saw that place." "Hey, I believe you," Noel says. "I'm just saying maybe the girl isn't the same one. A lot of girls look similar." "That's not true," Steve replies. "It is," Noel says. "My girlfriend Dolly and her sister look almost the same." Steve blinks. "Wait, you have a girlfriend? Why didn't you tell me?" "Oh, yeah," Noel says. "I was going to tell you. I just proposed yesterday, and she said yes." Steve grins. "That's great." Then he says, "We have to follow that girl. Maybe she's a ghost or an alien." Noel laughs, and Steve joins him. Later that evening, both Steve and Noel are standing near the pizza shop. Steve says, "You said they close the shop at 6 o'clock, right? So why haven't they closed yet?" "Maybe they're cleaning," Noel replies. "Some people come out of the shop, the employees saying goodbye to each other. Bye. See you tomorrow," they call out. Steve and Noel spot the girl. One of the guys waves and says, "Bye, Tina." Tina starts walking down the street. Steve and Noel quietly follow her. As they walk, Noel whispers, "Maybe we shouldn't follow her. I think she's just a normal girl." "We have to check," Steve says. Tina turns right, and they turn right too. "I'm scared, Steve," Noel says. "What if she's a witch or something? She'll kill us." "Shut up, Noel," Steve mutters. Tina suddenly turns around and sees them. Noel gasps, "Oh my God," and hides behind a car. Steve freezes as Tina looks directly at him, then continues walking. Steve whispers, "Noel, let's go. Are you crazy? She saw us. We should run." Noel says. "Come on, Noel, don't be a coward," Steve says. Noel stands up, and they keep following Tina. Tina stops and stands still. Steve and Noel slow down, walking closer. Steve smiles and turns left. And Noel follows him. When they turn, Tina is gone. They look around everywhere, but she's disappeared. "Where is she?" Noel says. "Let's go home, Noel." He lost her," Steve replies. Meanwhile, Tina is hiding behind a shop, watching them. She frowns, then turns, and walks toward the jungle. Soon, she reaches the place where the big house had appeared before. When Tina sees it, her eyes widen. "Oh no, this is real." She walks closer, remembering Steve's words about seeing her there. She knocks on the doorbell. And waits. The door opens and Steve is standing there. "Yes? Can I help you?" he asks calmly. Tina stares at him. "Do you remember me? We met at the pizza shop today." "Sorry, I don't remember," Steve says. "Did you forget? You came with your friend, and you said." Tina stops mid-sentence. Steve looks puzzled. "What did I say?" Suddenly Tina panics and starts running away. Steve watches her leave and closes the door. Tina runs out of the jungle and onto the main road. She spots Steve and Noel walking together and gasps. "Hey, you!" Tina shouts. Noel's eyes widen. "Run!" Both Steve and Noel start running, and Tina chases after them. "What's her problem?" Steve shouts. "Did you forget you stalked her? She probably wants to kill us." Noel yells back. They keep running for their lives, and Tina keeps chasing them. Then a guy on a bike shows up. "Hey, Tina. Where are you running?" he calls. "Thank God, Billy. You came," she says, breathing heavily. "Are you okay?" Billy asks. "Yeah, I'm fine," Tina says. "Follow them." Billy looks at Steve and Noel running in the distance. "Get on," he says. Tina climbs on the bike, and they start chasing Steve and Noel again. Steve and Noel, exhausted, finally stop running. They turn and see Tina and Billy approaching on the bike. Both of them freeze. Billy stops the bike and says, "Hey, guys." Tina gets off and walks toward Steve. "Hey, we can explain," Steve says nervously. "Yeah, we can explain everything," Noel adds quickly. Tina looks at Steve seriously. "I saw that big house you were talking about." Steve and Noel exchange shocked looks. Steve asks, "What did you see there?" Tina says, "I saw you." The scene shifts to Noel's house. All four of them, Steve, Noel, Tina, and Billy, are there. Noel's mother welcomes them inside warmly. They go to Noel's room and sit down to talk about what happened. Steve looks at Tina and asks, "Are you 100% sure you saw me there?" Tina nods slowly. "Yes, I'm sure. I saw you standing in the doorway of that big house." Steve frowns. "But that's impossible. I was with Noel at that time." "I don't know how to explain it," Tina says. "But it was definitely you. You even said something. Though I couldn't hear it clearly." Noel looks between them. "So wait, are you saying there are two Steves?" Billy crosses his arms. "Maybe it's some kind of illusion. That house could be cursed or something." Steve shakes his head. "No, I don't believe in curses. But that house, it shouldn't exist." Tina says quietly, "When I saw the house, it felt strange. Like it wasn't really there." But I could still touch it. It looked real but wrong somehow. Steve stands up. Then we need to go back. We have to see what's going on there. Null groans. Steve, are you serious? We barely made it out last time without getting scared to death. Billy says, if what Tina saw is true, we should all go together. It might be dangerous. Steve nods. Fine. We go tomorrow morning. Tina looks at him nervously. Morning? But the house only appeared at night. Then we'll wait until night, Steve says firmly. This time, we'll find out what that house really is. And who I saw inside. The four of them share uncertain looks. Outside, the wind blows softly through the trees, carrying the faint sound of something echoing from deep within the jungle. Something waiting for them to return. To be continued.